السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. طلاب الأعزاء، طلاب الفرقة الأولى بالمجمع التكنولوجي المتكامل بالأميرية، أهلا وسهلا بحضراتكم جميعا في محاضرة أخرى خاصة بمادة التكنيكال English. Today inshallah we have an assignment to do. I asked you last time to do an assignment on lesson number 5, and today we're going to deal with the answers of this assignment together. Let's move on. The first question that we have is, how do wind turbines work? How do wind turbines work? And the answer is, the energy, it works of course through the energy from moving air particles, which is used to turn large turbines when wind turbines have blades that rotate when the wind blows. So one more time, wind turbines are working through the energy which is produced by the moving air particles, and such moving air particles are used to turn large turbines. And in general, wind turbines have blades, and such blades rotate when the wind blows. So this is the answer of the first question. Let's move on to question number 2. The question is, why are some wind farms connected to batteries? One more time. Why are some wind farms connected to batteries? If you still remember, we're talking about the idea of batteries which are connected to wind farms. And if you examine the reading comprehension article well, you'll find the answer as some wind energy power plants are connected to batteries, so they can supply electricity even when the wind is not blowing. So the main function of such batteries is to provide electricity, is to produce electricity even when the wind is not blowing. That's why we have batteries, okay, which are connected to wind farms. Let's move on to next question. The question is, what are some of the drawbacks of wind farms? What are some of the drawbacks of wind farms? And by the word the drawbacks, we mean problems. So it's as if saying, what are some of the problems of wind farms? One more time, if you examine the article carefully, you would find the answer of this question in one of the paragraphs. And the answer of this question is, let's read it together. Wind farms are noisy, and many people do not like the look of them. Also, wind farms require a lot of land. Though each turbine only takes a small area of land, wind farms can easily have hundreds or thousands of turbines. With that many turbines together, their presence can easily affect birds, bats, and other wildlife in the area. So the answer of this question, as you see, that wind farms have some problems, some drawbacks. These problems or these drawbacks are, number one, they are noisy. Many people do not like them. Wind farms require a lot of land. And also, despite the fact that turbine only takes like a small area of land, wind farms can easily have hundreds or thousands of turbines, which means that they need, a huge space of land. And whenever you have so many turbines, this can affect the life, of course, negatively affect the life of birds, of bats, and other wildlife in the area where we have wind turbines. So that's the answer of this question. Let's move on to the next question. The question is, how far today's turbines are different from old-fashioned windmills? So in the article, we were comparing between turbines, okay, and the old-fashioned windmills, which is translated as طواحين الهواء. So the answer of this question is, today, turbines as tall as skyscrapers, with turbines nearly as wide in diameter, stand around the world. In the USA, for example, wind, which accounts for a little more than 6% of US generation of energy, has become the cheapest energy source in many parts of the country. So if you want to compare between turbines and between windmills, so one of the key features of turbines is that they are tall. We are comparing turbines to skyscrapers, compared of course to the traditional or the old-fashioned windmills, and at the same time nowadays it has like, or it represents like a huge percent of what we call the energy sources. And in this example, we have the United States as a key example of producing or generating energy out of turbines or out of the wind. Let's move on. Next question is, where can wind farms be built? Where can wind farms be built? The answer is, wind farms can be built anywhere with high wind speeds, such as hilltops, in open plains, or even offshore in open water. In other words, you need a steady, strong wind blowing in order to produce a large, consistent amount of electricity. So it's clear that you can build wind farms anywhere as long as there is a kind of high wind speed, okay? And we have many examples of places where you can have like high wind speed. In other words, what we need in order to have or to build or to construct wind farms is steady, strong wind blowing in order to produce a large, consistent amount of electricity. Let's move on. Now we have a different question. It's a synonym match question. We have some words on the left. First one is byproduct. Second one is particles, blade, rotate, supply, consistent, put up, wildlife, skyscrapers, account for. So we have 10 words on the left, and we have some explanations and some synonyms on the right. And your task was to match the word with its synonym. Okay, so the first one here, the first one is byproduct. So what's the meaning of the word byproduct? Okay, let's do it with highlighting. So byproduct means, which one? Is it provide? Is it regular, continuous, stable, very tall buildings, animal and plants in nature, a flat part with a thin edge, something produced as a result of an initial production process, small parts to form a part of a total, build, move, or circle around. If we want to do a matching here, byproduct means letter what? Letter F. Which means what? Which means something produced as a result of an initial production process. That's the meaning of the word byproduct. Then we have number 2, which is particles. So what's particles? Particles here means letter, which one? Letter G. Particles means small parts. Small parts means what? Means particles. Then we have the third one, which is blade. So what's the meaning of the word blade? Blade is, okay, yeah, a flat part with a thin edge. A flat part with a thin edge, that's the word blade. Then we have rotate. What does it mean to rotate? So rotate means to move, okay, move or circle around, to move or circle around. Then we have supply. So what supply? Supply means to provide. So supply means what? Means provide. And then we have number 6, which is consistent. So what's consistent? Consistent means letter B. Consistent means what? Means regular, continuous, or stable. So one more time, consistent means regular, continuous, or stable. Then we have number 7, which is put up. That's letter I, which is build. Then we have number 8, wildlife. So what's the meaning of the word wildlife? That's letter D, okay? Animals and plants in nature. That's wildlife. Number 9, skyscrapers. So what's skyscrapers? That's very tall building. Skyscrapers means very tall buildings. And the last one is number 10, which is account for. And account for, this is letter H, to form a part of a total. That's the meaning of the word account for. So that's the end of today's lecture. I hope that your answers have been now, checked and corrected for lesson number 5 on wind energy. Thank you so much, and see you inshallah next session. Thank you. Bye bye.